This is the last video in our series of 6 presentations on important verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Today, our topic is Who is Sri Krishna? As explained by Sri Krishna himself in his own words. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna refers to himself in several different ways and from different standpoints, depending on the context. For example, in the first chapter, when he tells Arjuna to look at the warriors on the battlefield, Sri Krishna speaks as Arjuna's friend and charioteer. Then, at the beginning of chapter 4, Sri Krishna describes himself as an avatara of Lord Vishnu, a divine incarnation who gets born again and again to restore righteousness whenever a dharma grows strong. In chapter 6 and elsewhere, Sri Krishna refers to himself as the divinity that dwells inside you, as pure consciousness, Atma. And then, starting with chapter 7, Sri Krishna presents himself as Ishvara, as the limitless source of pure existence and infinite knowledge, as the cosmic being who became manifest in the form of the entire universe, who endowed the world and all its creatures with existence and sentiency. For this video, I carefully selected 5 important verses that convey the essence of Sri Krishna's teachings on his ultimate nature as Ishvara. To keep the emphasis on his own words, I'll try to explain these verses as briefly as possible. If you want to study them in more depth, you can watch my classes on the Bhagavad Gita. I'll leave a link below. Western religions tend to present God as being separate or distinct from the world he created. Their scriptures describe God as an almighty but distant or remote being who created the world out of nothing. But the rishis, the sages of ancient India, described Ishvara's creation of the world very differently. First of all, they never accepted the idea that God could create something out of nothing, because that idea itself seems to violate basic principles of logic and reason. More than that, the rishis never envisioned Ishvara as being separate or distinct from the universe. Rather, they said that Ishvara himself became manifest in the form of the universe. A famous hymn from the Yajurveda says, 1/4 of him became the world, while 3/4 of him remained beyond the world. Of course, these numbers are metaphorical. They suggest that only a small portion of Ishvara's infinite being is manifest here in the world. This hymn refers both to Ishvara's immanent nature as well as his transcendent nature. Immanent means present, here and now, referring to the smaller part of Ishvara that became manifest here in the form of the world. Transcendent means beyond the world, beyond everything, including words, thoughts, and ideas. The greater part of Ishvara's limitless existence is transcendent. A metaphor that's often used to explain the immanent and transcendent nature of Ishvara is based on your own dreams. At night, when you dream, you create a dream world, a world of sky, trees, birds, people, and buildings. Now, consider this. The buildings in your dreams are not made of wood and plaster. Then what are they made of? Well, you created them not out of nothing, but you created them out of yourself. Part of you became manifest in the form of the sky, trees, and buildings in your dream world. In the same way, part of Ishvara became manifest in the form of the sky and trees here in this world. Also, even though part of you is manifest in the form of your dream world, most of you remains sound asleep, lying in your bed. That part of you transcends the world of your dreams. It exists outside or beyond the dream world. In the same way, most of Ishvara is transcendent, beyond the matter and energy that make up the world, beyond the edge of the universe that is constantly expanding. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna teaches Arjuna about both the immanent and transcendent aspects of Ishvara. Most of the middle 6 chapters of the Gita, chapters 7 through 12, are dedicated to this topic. In chapter 7, Sri Krishna says, Mattah parataram nanyata kinchirasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, na anyat kinchirasti. There is nothing else that exists, nothing that is mattaha parataram, nothing that's beyond me, outside me, greater than me. Of course, Sri Krishna is speaking here as Ishvara himself. In the first half of this verse, he clearly refers to the transcendent nature of Ishvara, beyond which nothing else exists. But then, in the second half, he refers to the immanent nature of Ishvara, when he says, Sarvamidam, all this, the whole world, the entire universe, is Mayi Protam. All this is pervaded by me. It's permeated by me. It's woven on me. In other words, Ishvara is present in and through the entire universe because he himself is manifest in the form of the stars and planets and in the form of every atom and particle. Yet, you can't actually see Ishvara's immanent presence in and through the universe. If you look through a powerful telescope, or if you use other instruments to explore the inner structure of an atom, you will never find Ishvara there. Ishvara is hidden in the universe, hidden in plain view, so to speak, because it is Ishvara himself who is manifest in the form of the stars, planets, and atoms. To understand this better, imagine a character in one of your dreams, a highly inquisitive man who is on a spiritual quest, and he desperately wants to discover and personally see the creator of the dream world. That is, he wants to see you. But he can only see your manifestation in the form of the sky, trees, and birds in the dream world. He can't separately or distinctly see your immanent presence there. Much less could he see your transcendent nature, lying in bed, sound asleep. So, to explain Ishvara's hidden, immanent presence in the world, Sri Krishna uses a different metaphor in this verse. He says, Sutre manigana iva. Ishvara is like the string on which a necklace of precious jewels is strung. You can't see the string, yet you know that the string is indeed present because the jewels in the necklace remain in place. Without the string, all the jewels would simply fall to the ground. In the same way, we know that Ishvara is present in the universe because the planets remain in their respective orbits, and the Earth continues to revolve on its axis every 24 hours. Ishvara's immanent presence in the world endows it with order, with a fundamental intelligent order that governs the entire universe. Consider this. When you dream, the laws of nature in your dream world are determined by you, the dreamer, the creator of your dream world. That's why you can fly in your dreams, or you can fall from a tall building without getting hurt. In a similar way, Ishvara determines the fundamental intelligent order that governs the universe. Ishvara's intelligent order includes both the laws of nature, as understood through science, and the laws of karma, as revealed by the ancient rishis. Sri Krishna continues to describe Ishvara and his intelligent order that governs the universe in chapter 9. Prakritim swamavashtabhya visrajami punaf punaha bhutagramamimam kritsnam avasham prakritir vashat. Visrajami punaf punaha. I create the world again and again. That is, Ishvara himself becomes manifest in the form of the world after each cycle of creation comes to an end and the next cycle begins. Really speaking, the universe never actually ceases to exist. Instead, it goes through cycles of being manifest or unmanifest, active or dormant. An unmanifest state is like a seed in which a plant already exists in a potential or unmanifest condition. So, at the beginning of each cycle of creation, a new universe emerges, like a plant that sprouts from a seed. But then, what makes the unmanifest universe suddenly become manifest? Sri Krishna says, Prakritim swam avashtabhya. It's due to Ishvara's control over nature itself, due to Ishvara's intelligent order. For example, Ishvara's intelligent order endows the universe with 4 fundamental forces, including the force of gravity. Without these forces, the movement of every particle in the universe would be completely random and utterly chaotic. The universe as we know it can exist only because of the precise balance of these 4 forces, forces that are expressions of Ishvara's intelligent order. In the second half of the verse, Sri Krishna says, Imam kritsnam bhutagramam. All this, everything that exists in the universe, from subatomic particles to highly evolved creatures like you and me, All this is avasham prakritehe vashat. All this is controlled, it's regulated, it's organized and structured according to the laws of nature, according to Ishvara's intelligent order. In a manner of speaking, we can say that everything in the universe happens according to Ishvara's will. But Ishvara's will is nothing at all like your will. Your will is fickle. You can change your mind whenever you want. If Ishvara's will were as fickle as yours, then gravity might pull downwards today, but tomorrow it might pull sideways. Also, your will is limited. After you drop something, you can't choose where it falls. But Ishvara's will is limitless. Ishvara's intelligent order controls the speed and direction of each and every particle in the cosmos. Many people wrongly believe that Ishvara's will is like the will of a human being. Such people hold on to their childhood ideas about Ishvara. But to understand who and what Ishvara truly is, it's necessary to set aside all those childish notions. Sri Krishna addresses Arjuna as an adult, as someone who has outgrown the stories of childhood and is now capable of understanding things deeply. In chapter 10, Sri Krishna describes Ishvara in a manner that requires this kind of deep understanding. Aham atma gurakesha sarva bhuta shayastitaha aham adishcha madhyancha bhutanamanta Gurakesha, O Arjuna, aham atma. I am Atma. I am the Self, who is sarva bhuta ashayastitaha, who abides in the hearts of all creatures. Here, when Sri Krishna says, I am Atma, the Self, he means self in the broadest sense possible. And that includes your body, mind, senses, prana, and everything else that makes you, an individual person. Let's return to the dream metaphor we used earlier. For every person in your dreams, you are the source of their bodies, minds, senses, and all the rest. In fact, there's nothing in your dream world other than you. Everything in your dream world is a manifestation of you and you alone. In the same way, everything in this world is a manifestation of Ishvara alone. That's why my guru liked to say, there is not one God, there is only God. In this verse, Sri Krishna teaches that there is only God, only Ishvara. He says, Aham adihicha bhutanam. I am the source of all creatures, the source of everything that exists. That is, Ishvara himself is manifest in the form of everything that exists, like you are manifest in the form of everything that exists in your dream world. Then Sri Krishna says, Aham madhyam cha. I am also the middle. That is, Ishvara supports and sustains the existence of the universe through his intelligent order, the order that gives structure and function to everything. And finally, Sri Krishna says, Aham anta eva cha. I am also the end. That is, at the end of each cycle of creation, when the world becomes unmanifest, then everything returns to Ishvara. It's like when you wake up from a dream. Where does everything go then? All the trees and birds and people. Everything returns to you. In the same way, everything in the world returns to Ishvara when it becomes unmanifest. Okay. We have already discussed how Ishvara's immanent presence in the world and his transcendent existence beyond the world are both imperceptible. Neither are visible to our eyes. But the fact is, it's really difficult to worship or pray to a God who is formless and imperceptible. It's really helpful to have some kind of form that we can relate to more easily for the sake of prayer and worship. That's why we find various deities installed on the altars of Hindu temples around the world. But based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, it is indeed possible to appreciate Ishvara's presence in the world around us. How? Not in familiar forms like Vishnu or Shiva, but in other forms, natural forms that are manifestations of Ishvara, forms like the sun and moon and fire. Sri Krishna teaches this in chapter 15. Yadadityagatam tejo jagad bhasayate kilam yat chandramasi yat chagnao tat tejo vidhi mamakam. Yat adityagatam tejas, the light of the sun, its dazzling rays. Jagat bhasayate akilam. Those rays shine upon and illumine the entire world. Then in the last line, tat tejas vidhi mamakam. O Arjuna, you should know, you should appreciate the fact that the blazing light of the sun is my light. That is, Ishvara himself is manifest in the form of the sun and its dazzling rays. According to science, the sun is a gigantic nuclear reactor that fuses atoms of hydrogen together to make energy, including the light and warmth we receive each day. This nuclear reaction has continued for more than 4 billion years, and so far it's consumed only half of the hydrogen that's available. All this happens according to the laws of nature, which are expressions of Ishvara's intelligent order. Yet, most of us take the sun for granted. We fail to appreciate its grandeur and its crucial role in our existence. In this verse, Sri Krishna encourages us to understand the sun and its light as a blessing, as his own blessing. The ancient rishis never took the sun for granted. They worshipped Ishvara in the form of the sun, as Surya, and they recited the Gayatri mantra to invoke Ishvara's blessings to illumine our minds and guide us on the path to enlightenment. We can certainly pray and worship like the rishis did. In addition to the light of the sun, Sri Krishna says, Yat chandramasi, the light of the moon, is also his light. That is, the beautiful rays of the shining moon are also Ishvara's blessings. Not only that, Yatcha agnau, the flickering light of burning fire, the warmth and radiance of fire, are also blessings of Ishvara. This verse suggests that you can learn how to recognize and appreciate Ishvara's sacred presence everywhere in nature. Now, we come to the last of the verses that we will discuss here. In chapter 10, Sri Krishna gives some really powerful advice on how you can gradually cultivate the ability to appreciate Ishvara's immanent presence everywhere. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimadurjitam eva va tat tadevavagachatvam mama tejom shasambhavam. Yad yat vibhutimat sattvam. Whatever is glorious or magnificent, Srimat urjitam evava, or anything that's extremely sacred, holy, or anything that's tremendously powerful, bursting with energy. Tat tat eva avagachatvam. O Arjuna, you should understand, you should realize that all such things are mama tejas amsha sambhavam. They arise from just a tiny fraction of my limitless power, glory, and might. For many people, one of the easiest ways to relate to Ishvara is by learning to appreciate his sacred presence in nature. When you stand on top of a majestic mountain, or if you sit next to a sweetly babbling stream, the great beauty and perfection of Ishvara's intelligent order is easy to appreciate. As a child, I was thrilled by violent thunderstorms because their furious winds and their ear-splitting claps of thunder made me quite literally feel God's tremendous power all around me. This kind of appreciation of Ishvara's presence all around you can be developed gradually. First, you can learn to see Ishvara's presence in the behavior of an innocent little baby. And then later, perhaps much later, you can learn to see Ishvara's presence in the behavior of a coworker or relative who constantly irritates you. Okay, the fact remains, compared to all the amazing wonders of nature, the glories of Ishvara are infinitely greater. Why? Well, the hymn from the Yajurveda we discussed before said that only 1/4 of Ishvara is manifest here in the world and is available for you to experience. On the other hand, 3/4 lies beyond the world, beyond your experience. You can learn how to appreciate Ishvara's sacred presence here in the world, but Ishvara's extraordinary transcendent nature will forever lie beyond your experience, beyond words, beyond thoughts, beyond your wildest imaginations. Such is the greatness of Ishvara.